This is Minecraft The Island, Chapter 3. Don't assume anything. What's my next move? I asked the darkness. Given that I was trapped, literally with my back to the wall, with a snarling corpse just a handful of dirt away, the options seemed pretty limited. For a long while, I tried to just focus on my breathing, clearing my mind, letting the ideas flow. Ironically, the first clear thought I had was that my breathing might be using up all my air. How much did I have? Was I suffocating already? Was I already suffocating? What did suffocation feel like? I tried to sense any changes in my body. Any feelings that weren't there before. And that's when I noticed that all the pain from my injuries was gone. Both my head and ankle felt fine. My stomach, on the other hand, felt completely empty. I chomped down another apple, trying to make sense of what was happening. Am I losing oxygen to the brain? I wondered, or did I just heal super fast? Seriously, am I a superhero? The thought gave me a sudden rush of hope. Zombie groaned. Is that it? I asked the ghoul. Does this world give me hyper healing? And do the apples or any food have something to do with it? Another non-commercial groan. You don't have to answer, I said. I'll figure everything out because that's what it takes to survive here, right? This whole new world with a whole new set of rules, like punching from a distance or a little bag that holds a lot of stuff. Deeper breathing brought greater calm, and greater calm brought clearer thinking. I just need to figure out what's what. I stated matter of factly, and I'll do that as soon as I burst out of here. On cue, the zombie groaned back. And when I do, you'll be waiting. So I'll need some kind of weapon to defend myself. A club or a spear. Or zombie gave a quick high-pitched growl I hadn't heard before. Hey, I said, putting my ear to the dirt. What gives? Had it heard me? Were we having an actual conversation? The sharp, harsh growls kept coming. Like the creature was reacting to something, like it was in pain. You okay? I asked reflexively. Hey, I'm sorry if talking about weapon hurts your feelings or something, but in all fairness, you are trying to kill me. Halfway through my babbling, I noticed that the sounds are gone. Hello? I called out to the silence. I thought I could smell something seeping through the dirt. Smoke? Was the zombie building a fire outside my hole, trying to smoke me out? Could zombies do that? I had to know if sitting here meant dying of smoke inhalation. I had to take my chances. Out in the open, my chances out in the open. Heart pounding, I knocked out the dirt cubes in front of my face and blinked hard in the light of the square morning sun. I couldn't see the zombie, but I could still smell its rotten stench, now mixed with the strong scent of smoke. I tore out the second block and stepped cautiously onto the beach. I looked at right, then left, then down, and wrinkled my nose. A chunk of putrid A chunk of putrid meat was hovering at my feet. I picked it up nervously and winced at the utter grossness. The fingers were charred like a burnt burger. The fringes were charred like a burnt burger, and I didn't need to ask where the smoky smell had come from. I darted across the sand, thinking that this was a trap, and the zombie might be waiting on the hill just above me. It wasn't. The coast literally was clear. "Hey, dead dude," I shouted, holding up the hunk of rot. "You forgot yourself." I waited a tense minute, hoping the chunk's owner wouldn't come slouching back over the hill. It didn't. This bit of burnt, grody guts had to be all that was left. But why? The sun? But didn't daylight kill only vampires? Maybe in my world. But I said to the chunk, "We're not in my world, and I can't assume anything." And just as I said that, my eyes fell on my small cliffside hidey hole. Specifically, I noticed the 1 block wide ceiling of dirt. Why hadn't it collapsed on top of me? What was holding it up? I went back to the hole and punched out the 2 earthen blocks above my head. Then, moving away so they wouldn't land on me, I put them right back in place, and they stuck. "Cool," I smiled, feeling a surge of confidence. Other than hyperhealing, the ability to stick dirt blocks to each other was a huge advantage of this world. Was a huge advantage of this world. I meant that I could build. It meant that I could build a shelter without nails or cement or whatever kept houses up. That's amazing. That's assuming, of course, that there wouldn't be a natural sanctuary waiting for me somewhere out there. I hiked to the top of the hill, scanned the entire length of the island, checking the north and south slopes just to be sure. Then heaved a heavy sigh of disappointment. There was no cave, no hole, no move right in fortress. I noticed the cow. 2 of them actually grazing at the bottom of the western slope, munching and mooing to their heart's content. Stop that. Sorry, my little brother's here. I'm reading this book to him. "Well," I called down to them, my eyes now fixed on the trees. "At least I was right about the sun chasing those monsters away. The light had definitely banished whatever had been lurking in the woods the night before. But where had they gone? And for that matter, where had they come from? Did they walk out of the sea at dusk, or crawl out of the ground like in some cheesy horror film? I'd probably know a lot sooner than I wanted to. Even though dawn had only been a few minutes ago, the sun was already halfway to noon. "How short are these days?" I asked the contented cows. And if they could have spoken, they probably would have answered, "Short enough to stop wasting time." "Thanks," I said sarcastically, then turned to climb back down what I was now calling Disappointment Hill. For a moment, I hesitated, wondering if I should build a signal fire. Isn't that what people did when they were marooned on an island? Maybe, but I had no idea how to do it. What did I know? What I did know how to do though was dig, using nothing but my hands. I punched out enough dirt blocks to spell the word help. Maybe a low-flying airplane or even a high-flying satellite will see it. I thought someone will see, or someone will come along. Someone will come along. I was still clinging to the idea that somebody was going to swoop in and save me. All I had to do was last a night or two until they did. I might have accepted that this was a whole new world, but I didn't stop to consider what that really meant. What I would later when I got myself lost at sea again. But I'm getting ahead of myself. With a watchful eye on the sun, I trudged back down the eastern slope. I thought about building a dirt hut out of my hole in the cliff. But when I looked at the narrow opening, I figured it'd be a lot safer to just burrow deeper. That way I'd have a whole hill between me and danger, instead of a few flimsy dirt walls. But how to do that? I couldn't tunnel through stone with my bare hands. Could I? Don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. I reminded myself, raising my fist to the smooth gray wall. You already have a distant punch superpower. You already have a distant punch superpower. Maybe that punch can break rocks. Turns out it can't. Ow! 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 I yelped with each hit. Yes, it's true. This world lets flesh do damage to solid rock. And yes, after battering for a while, it did look like I was making some progress. The great cube didn't crack though. Not like it would in my world. What I saw were little multicolored mini blocks spreading out from my impact point. But the moment I rested my bruised aching hands, all the damage to the rock sealed right back up. Oh man! I shouted and angrily decked the rocks again, which forced out another painful ow! Apparently, I wasn't the only thing in this world with hyper healing. What do I need to take you out? What do I need to take you out? I asked the silent mocking stone. Some kind of tool that was the obvious answer, like the castaways and all those stories, but they usually had a whole shipwreck of supplies, or a hatchet, or at least a talking volleyball. What? I don't get that reference. What did I have? What did I have? Fuzzy memories in a backpack full of nothing? Well, almost nothing. I tried hitting a stone wall with things I'd collected, saplings, dirt cubes, even zombie flesh. For all I knew, this world gave any one of them the power of a jackhammer. None of them worked, but the sapling gave me the idea. to try ripping a piece of harder, stronger wood from the leaves, or the leafless trees behind me. I went over to the to the closest trunk, and punched out the bottom section. "Timber!" I shouted, then let out a confused huff. Not only was the tree still upright, it was standing with nothing below, nothing connecting it to the ground. Look, I said, negotiating with the suspended column blocks and zombies, and with the suspended column. I said, look, I said, negotiating with the suspended column. Blocks and zombies are the only thing, but gravity? Blocks and zombies are one thing, but gravity? The floating trunk didn't move. Okay, I nodded, throwing up my dice-shaped hands. Your world, your rules. A few seconds later, I saw how true these words were. I tried bashing the cube log against the cliff, and nothing more than a sore hand. I winced, and without thinking, started to pass the log to my left hand in order to give my right one a break. What? My square eyes widened as my left hand opened to reveal a luminous gray. There were two lines, up, down, side to side, dividing my palm into 4 sections. As the shrunken log fell into the bottom left section, the glowing image of 4 stacked wooden planks floated up from my open right hand. "All right," I said nervously, not sure if what was happening was good or bad. I tried slowly closing my fingers. The planks grew solid, just as the log in my left hand vanished. "All right," I said with a growing zeal. In addition to the ability to heal quickly, punch things from a distance, and stick blocks to themselves without supports, somehow this world allowed me to transform raw materials into finished products in seconds? How long would that task have taken in my world? How many hours of chopping, measuring, sawing, and sanding? And that's assuming I already knew how to do any of that. This world let me become be a master crafter just by changing hands. What can I make with these? I wondered, passing the stacked planks to my left hand. This time, a tiny wooden mini cube floated above my right. "A button," I breathed. Not the kind of clothes, not the kind for clothes, but the kind you press. Head spinning, literally dizzy with new discoveries, I could only imagine what would happen when I pressed it. Would the button transform whatever it stuck to into something completely different? Would it transform me, or maybe it would raise up a giant gleaming fortress that held a white-haired spirit who would answer all my questions and teach me how to use my powers? Hadn't that happened in a movie? I don't know. I closed my hands on the button, grabbing it from the air and sticking it to the suspended tree. Was this the key to sending me home? "I'm ready," I shouted to the heavens, my shaking hand reaching out for the all-powerful, all-important button. Click. "Right," I sighed, hearing the wah of a trombone in my head. So much for all the answers. But looking down at the remaining wood, I said, "But maybe you've still got a few. But maybe you've still got a few." I spread the 3 planks out among the 4 spaces in my hand and got nothing. But as soon as I took one away, the other 2, sitting one above the other, projected the image of 4 long, sturdy sticks. "A club!" I shouted, grabbing them from the air, putting 3 in my belt. I swung the 4th like a determined Neanderthal. "Me strong, me have weapon." Hang on, let me say that again. "Me strong, me have weapon." Then, still in character, I looked back at the stone wall and growled, "Me also have Rockbreaker." I should have quit experimenting right then and there. I should have gone back to digging out my underground shelter, but big surprise, I didn't. "Just a few more experiments," I said, turning my back to the rock wall, "and then I'll get to work." Since the 1 remaining plank was only good for making buttons, I slipped it into my belt and started bashing down the rest of the suspended tree. I divided the new planks among all the 4 sections of my hand, and gaped in wonder at the ghostly image they produced. This cube seemed to have all kinds of tools hanging from its sides. "There we go," I shouted, grabbing this new game changer. It didn't matter what the tools were, as painted on as my clothes. The whole workbench or crafting table was a tool. Its top was laid out in 9 sections that looked and acted exactly like my left hand. "Oh yeah," I sang, doing what would now become my signature victory dance. I hopped a few times, spun once, and hopped again. Then reached for my remaining wood planks and threw them on the table. "Let's get hang on, let me read this again. "Oh yeah," I sang, doing what would now become my signature victory dance. I hopped a few times, spun once, hopped again, and then reached for my remaining wood planks and threw them on the table. "Let's get crafting!" My first few results were, let's just say, less than stellar, placing 2 planks by the side got me a thin, almost full block wide square. Placing the square on the ground and stepping on it, I got the same authentic click as the button. 3 planks across got me a 6 half-cube thick slabs. Doubling them to 6 planks got me 2 similar slabs, but with square holes cut in the corners. I placed one down on the ground, walked around it, stepped onto it. No effect. Stepped on it to no effect. Then tried to punch it. Tried to punch it back up again. Instead of shrinking into my hand, the slab tilted upward like a hatch. Awesome, I thought. Now I don't need hinges. And this theory was further proved when I tried a combination of 6 upright planks and got 3 full-size doors. 3. I usually only use one. I sat one down on the ground, saw that it remained standing, saw that it remained standing, then reached out to open it, and yes, the freestanding door swung open with a totally normal creaking sound. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay? Why not just quit the crafting and get right to work making a house for this door? Or at the very least, dig a rabbit hole in the ground and cover it with the hatch. Believe me, I thought about it and was really going to get to it eventually, but I couldn't stop without making without making the hand tools I saw on the sides of the crafting table. I mean, if this world had put them there, then they had to exist. They had to exist. So why wasn't I able to make them? I felt like those hand tools were just one more combination away. After all, I'd made so much progress and even picked up another lesson in the progress. Figuring out the rules turns then from figuring out rules turns them into enemies, turns them into enemies, into friends. Turns them from enemies to... Okay. I felt like those hand tools were just one more combination away. After all, I'd made so much progress and even picked up another lesson in the progress. Figuring out the rules turns them from enemies into friends. Just a few more tries. I promised, placing a plank on every section of the table. But that got me. When that got me nothing, I happened by sheer chance to take out the middle one first. Instantly, the image of a box appeared. And I don't mean a box-shaped something. I mean an actual box. I put it down in front of me, and opened the hingeless lid. It seemed to have to be a fixed version of my pack, with just as many compartments. Figures. I have tons more storage, and nothing to store. And on the subject of emptiness, on the subject of emptiness, my next experiment, 3 planks in a V got me 4 empty wooden bowls. Instinctively, I pictured filling them with all kinds of soups and stews. Mouth-watering, I reached for an apple. For the first time, though my hand refused to move, and a second later I realized why. I wasn't hungry in this world. I wasn't hungry. This world only let me eat when I needed to, not when I wanted to. Well, that's not fun, I told the apple, but at least I'll never waste food if I find any more. Looking at the roof, at the leafless tree trunks, I wondered if I shouldn't try searching for more apples before it got dark. Before I did that, I really had to get moving on that shelter. But before I did that, just one more try. I put another load of planks on the crafting table, adding a few more to change the V to a U. At first, I just make another bowl, but larger. At first, I thought I'd just make another bowl, but larger and more oval shaped. like a tub or a boat," I shouted, yanking it from the a boat. I shouted, yanking it from the ether. What was it? With it still miniaturized in my hand, I ran up over Disappointment Hill. Hey guys! I shouted to the grazing animals. "Check this out! I got a boat!" The sheep and cows glanced up casually, then got back to more important munching. "And a heartful farewell to you too," I said, running past them to the northern beach. I set the tiny model tub in the water. It instantly grew into a full-sized skiff. Climbing aboard, I couldn't believe how stable it was. No rocking, no bobbling. It's totally smooth. Since there was no motor or sail, I figured the only way to get going was by paddling it. By paddling, I learned forward to dip my hands in the water, and the boat suddenly began to move. My hands and my okay. All I gotta do is learn. I thought, smiling as the little craft picked up speed. "Escape! Freedom! Yeah!" I yelled, turning back. Sorry, I think I read this wrong. "Escape! Freedom! Yeah!" I yelled, turning back to give my island prison a final goodbye. I intended to shout something snarky like, "So long, suckers!" but stopped when I saw the last bit of land shrink to a speck on the horizon. I sat up slightly. The boat, I squinted slowing the boat, I squinted for land up ahead. There wasn't any. I came to a full stop. I looked in every direction and saw nothing but sky and sea. And that's when reality set in. What was I thinking? Where was I going? Escaping the island didn't mean escaping the world. At least back there, I kind of knew that what I was dealing with here is all unknown. This is what I should have considered when carving my help sign on the hill. Back when I was dry and safe. What if there wasn't any other land? Or what if the land didn't have any people? Or what if the people were as dangerous as zombies? Or what if there were only zombies and those other monsters I'd seen last night? Or worse, gulping down stomach acid, I spun around, gulping down stomach acid. Gross. I spun around and sped back to the island. Only the island wasn't there. I was going the right direction. I zigged this way and that, hoping for just the faintest hint of green. Nothing. I was lost. Stupid! I hissed, furious with myself for making such a thoughtless mistake. I'd been so eager to get home that I'd blown my one chance to survive. Now I was right back where I started, helpless and hopeless. No way was I getting out of this one. Sooner or later, I'd eat my last apple, then starve slowly under the baking sun. Or maybe I'd just or maybe I'd just be eaten by a squid. Maybe one was coming for me now. I could almost feel the hungry arms rising from the depths, ready to smash my boat and drag me under. Hopefully I'd drown before they tore me apart. Drown. Panic drowns thought. I whispered, feeling the strength in my words. The enemy wasn't rising squids, but my own rising hysteria, squeezing my chest and clouding my brain. Panic drowns thought. I shouted, and I'm not going to drown. I reached into my belt, not for the apple, but for a cube of dirt. Okay, before I finish this, I'm just gonna, okay, I only have 3 pages left, okay. I reached into my boat, not for the apple, but for a cube of dirt. Fittingly, I still had plenty more from the help sign, from the help. Sorry, from the help. From the help sign. I closed my eyes and inhaled its rich, grounding scent. Let's go find the rest of you, I told it. We have to be close. There's no current, and the breeze can't have blown us too far off course. The breeze. So far, I'd only noticed it gusting east to west. I looked up to the clouds and matched their movement with the line of the setting sun. Now we know east and west, I said with growing confidence. And since we started from the island's north beach, keeping the sun to the right means heading south. I put the dirt back in my belt and leaned cautiously forward. And there it was, the top of Disappointment Hill. I sighed in relief, leaning as far forward as I could. The boat shot headlong onto the beach, smashing into planks and sticks against the sandy northern shore. I didn't care. Maybe it, I whispered. Maybe it, I whispered, wishing my body could let me kiss the ground. Made it. Not maybe it. Moo! 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 Called an approaching cow, its voice heavy with criticism. I know, I said, getting out of the water and collecting the remains of my boat. I wasn't thinking. You think? Get it? Moo! Said the cow. You're right, I answered. I've got to think before I act, and that doesn't just mean figuring out my next move. I need a clear long-term strategy if I'm gonna survive this world. Moo! Agreed the cow. I've got to focus on covering the basics, I continued. Stockpiling food, building a secure shelter, crafting tools and weapons, and whatever else I'll need to make my life more comfortable. I began pacing back and forth emphatically, just emphatically. Emphatically. gesturing to the watching animal. I've got to turn this island into a comfort zone, a safe space where I can learn all I can about how this world works, and then I've got all the basics covered. I can start asking the really big questions, like how I got there, how I got here, and how I get home. And just as I considered those big questions, an even bigger, scarier one came to mind. Can I do it? I asked. All by myself, with no one to help me. I stared down at my painted shoes. No one to protect me or guide me, or I could barely get the words out. Take care of me. I closed my eyes, trying to remember something, anything about who I was. If I'm a kid, I said. If I'm a kid, I said, trembling. Then grown-ups must have done a lot for me. And if I'm a grown-up, then I still don't remember doing much for myself. Memories of that other world flashed before my anguished eyes. Memories of machines and luxuries, and clicking a screen to order anything I wanted. I think my world did a lot for me. So many people doing different jobs that nobody had to worry about, doing everything. I looked up into the cow's face. Can I do everything? Can I take care of me? Can I take care of me? The square animal gave a long moo, or moo, which I took for, what other choice is there? Only one, I answered. To curl up and die. I sighed hard, which I won't do. I choose to take care of myself. I proclaimed, as desperation morphed into determination. I chose to believe in myself. Moo, said the cow, sounding like, now you're talking. I can do this. I bellowed bodily. I can, and I will. And I noticed the sun had almost set. I gotta get out of here. Well, actually, no. It's said like this. I gotta get out of here. Or probably more like, I gotta get out of here. Confidence vanished as I raced out of the woods. How long did I have before the night terrors rose again? How long before they hunted me down? End of chapter 3. I'm using a card as my bookmark. Okay, anytime I just sounded a little less anytime that my voice was a little quieter, probably me talking normally, not reading the book. Anyways, Techman signing off at 43 minutes and 40 seconds.